In this video, I'm going to go through multiple examples of businesses in different parts of the trades, and together I'm going to show you how to identify and fix these constraints in these businesses. And the goal is that by the end of the video, you'll be able to fill in the information from your own contracting business, and in under 5 minutes, you can know exactly what is the thing that is in your way from growing this business and taking it to the next level. So one of the first things I want to do is I want to show you a clip of me introducing this concept with one of the people that I work with in the program. So there were 17 or so other contractors on this call, and together there's like a chat that you can't see, but together I'm running through this first example of a hardscaping business. And then we're going to come back here and I'm going to give you several more examples so that you can walk away from this video completely clear and understanding what's missing. So let's just dive into that clip. Here's some stats about this business. Okay. It's a hardscaping business. They do their average dollar per job is $30K. They're booked 7 months out. They're closing 50% of the time. The owner spends 15 hours a week as a foreman, 15 hours a week on admin, 15 hours a week on sales and marketing. He has 4 full-time employees, 2 part-time employees. This is the average wage. This is the number of active job sites. This is the average revenue per month. And this is the average gross profit after owner drop. So tell me, what should this guy most likely focus on next? I'm just going to pause for 1 second. When I say gross profit percentage, what I'm actually talking about in that video is if we subtract so if he's charging, let's say, $10,000 for a job, after labor, after materials, after subcontractors, and after any any equipment, what money is left over for the business? So that's what that means.
I mean, if he's booked up 7 months, average job's high, 15 hours as a foreman. I don't know if that's high or low. Sounds low. Admin 15. I mean, it's a good breakdown. I want this breakdown. I want to put my stats into this.
Yeah. So I see a lot of guesses.
Average gross profit is pretty low.
Yeah. So I see like raise prices, get off the tools, hiring. I see all these guesses in chat. So if I'm looking at this, I'm trying to figure out why, like, being booked at 50% for this size of a job is actually not bad, okay? But obviously, he should be making more money. Now, one way you can make more money is increasing your price. But what's most likely going to happen, because he's spending 15 hours a week on sales and marketing, it tells me it's probably not word of mouth. He's probably putting in more effort than just word of mouth. That's just a guess. So if it's not word of mouth, what's most likely going to happen is if he increases his price, his booking percentage might drop. But he's still booked out 7 months in advance. So there is actually a lot of merit to potentially raising the price, because maybe his booking percentage drops to 40%, but his gross margin goes up, but then he needs to focus on marketing. So there's definitely a strategy. But if this guy came to me before we increase prices, I would say, look, you have all this money that you're sitting on, 7 months worth, and you just aren't finishing these jobs fast enough. You're finishing 3 jobs a month. If we are finishing 5 jobs a month, we can start getting through this cash faster with the same employees. So I wouldn't get him off the tools yet. He's completely off the tools. Like you see, he's off the tools. We spend on tools 0. He's just a foreman, still involved in day-to-day. What I would probably do is help him hire an admin so he spends more time as a foreman, get these guys to be more efficient, systemize the thing, then increase prices, and then bring on a sales rep and scale. Exactly. This guy's potential production issues.
Yeah, nice.
Pretty cool, right? There's different ways to approach it, but this is how my brain works. And it's not by accident. It's because I always would look at my own business and I would get outside opinion and I would think about it. So the constraint for this person here that we're looking at, the hardscaper, it's going to be getting his labor percentage down, because he has all these employees. He's got part-time guys, full-time guys, 2 job sites. He's booked out 7 months, spending all this time doing admin. It's like, all right, man, let's get you more systems, more efficient. Let's fire maybe the slow guys, hire some new ones. Let's get this gross profit margin to like 35%. Let's cut this time down. Let's potentially hire more people. And then we'll test out increasing your price. And then we start going into sales and marketing even heavier. But 7 months is a huge buff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds nice, but when you break it down like that, it's too long.
Okay, cool. We're back. So there was a lot that I covered there, and I'm going to go step by what these things are. And ultimately, to understand this exercise, to learn how to gain the skill, one of the first things I want to introduce you to is a concept called the theory of constraints. Okay, and I can attach or cite where this came from, but there's an actual business study in the 1980s or something that brought this concept forth. And it basically says this: a business, ultimately, you can can think of it as a funnel. And on the far left, the first thing you need is some sort of marketing. So it's word of mouth, you're launching ads, you're going door to door, whatever that may look like, you're paying for Angie's List or whatever. You are getting leads. People are expressing interest. The next step after that is sales. Sales is the process of taking somebody who's interested and turning them into a customer. So setting up the appointment, filtering out tire kickers, ensuring that the quote and bidding process is done well, presenting your quote or bid process, whether it's in person or over email. That whole art is the art of sales. Once you've booked the job, the very next constraint that is unlocked, so we go marketing, sales. The next thing after that is hiring. If you're the only person doing the work, well, you've kind of hired yourself. That's why a lot of times when we have contractors coming to us, they say, Amber, I feel like I don't really own a business. I own a job. And a very big reason for that is they're the only employee in their business. So they're just doing absolutely everything. Now, when it comes to hiring, that's an art of its own. Most people think of hiring as like an administrative task when really it is actually more like marketing and sales into one. You have to either get word of mouth, spend money on advertisement, get some applicants, and then from there, your sales process starts technically, nobody thinks of hiring this way, but this is basically how it is. So now you have these people that are interested, and you got to be able to filter out the tire kickers and then find the people that are worthwhile, and you got to sell them on why this opportunity out of all other opportunities is worthwhile, while at the same time making them feel like they earned it. It's a quite of an interesting balance, but that's hiring, is taking these applicants, filtering them, interviewing, and then basically choosing, hey, I'm going to hire this person. Once that's done, okay, let's imagine a business for a second that has gotten all these leads, that has sold all these jobs, and there's just like 3 of us in the shop. The next step after that, after you have your employees, is you got to produce the work. And that's what we call production. It's actually delivering that promise you made to the client. So if you promised the client, hey, I'm going to build you some cabinets, production is building cabinets. Hey, I'm going to build you a whole house. That's what we're doing. Hey, I'm going to paint you this wall. That's what we're doing. That's production. So the theory of constraints basically explains that at every given level, you want to solve the first step forward. So you always got to ask, is there enough work coming in? Am I able to convert these strangers into customers efficiently? Do I have the right team that I can actually trust with my reputation? Is this team provided the right checklists and systems and structures to execute on that without needing my every input every single day? That's the theory of constraints. So what I'm doing when I'm laying out all these stats is I'm giving you a snapshot of different parts of that business. Those are the main 4 components of a business. You can maybe lump in another one, but it's basically tied with production. That's like the office. So it's the bookkeeping, profit tracking, payroll, ordering materials, just that stuff, ordering equipment. So those are the facets of a business. So with that knowledge, let's jump into another example. Okay, so on your screen, you should see now this cabinetry business, okay? And basically what this business does is it builds cabinets and then installs it. That's the business. So you can see the average dollar per job, similar to the last one, $30,000. The amount of months they're booked out 1 month, their booking percentage is 60%. The amount of hours that the owner spends on the tools is 30 hours a week. And the amount of hours that they spend as a foreman, basically what that means is how many hours are they managing other employees? 0. Number of hours a week doing admin, so ordering materials, doing bids, paperwork, just the boring business side of things, 10 hours a week. And number of hours a week doing sales and marketing, and we have that at 5 hours. So this person's already working for 45 hours a week. Number of payroll employees, 0. Number of non-payroll employees, 0. Average hourly rate if he was to hire somebody, 25. Number of subcontracted people on site, it's 2. From my understanding, this person's business, he subcontracts the installation. He just oversees it, so he has 2 people for that. He usually is managing 1 job site at a time, and he's doing around $30,000 a month, average gross profit of 30%. So if you want to pause this video, because I want you to try and guess. And if you guess and you get it wrong, that's good. You can learn something. And if you guess and you get it right, then you're on the right track. So pause this video. And if you were running this business, what is the main thing you're going to focus on or tweak? Okay, so first things first, if you're running this business, you're in a tough position. So I would say there's different quadrants that a contractor can be in. So the best is you have free time and you have money. And then the one below that is you have money but no free time. Then below that is you have time but no money. And then the one below that is you don't have the money or you don't have the time. So this person falls into the realm of like maybe having some money but no time, but definitely time is a giant constraint here. And just based on his circumstances, that 30% gross profit margin, like he needs that, $9,000 a month. So he can't be working less, unfortunately. And he's doing one job a month. So one of the things that you'll quickly discover is this here is low. The amount of months that he's booked out in advance is only one. And here's why that's a constraint. Here's a general rule of thumb. If you want to hire a full-time employee in the business, as a safety net, you should be booked out 2 to 3 months in advance. So if you know that to be true, then this person is only booked out 1 month in advance. So we have to double that. What can he do? What can we change in this thing to help him be booked out more than 1 month in advance? Well, the answer is simple. You see how there's the number of hours a week doing sales and marketing? We got to crank that up to 20. So this person, there's a realization that's made here, is to escape this doom loop, this cycle. If you were running this business, I would look you in the eye and say, hey man, like, here's some bad news. If you want different results, you have to take different inputs, and you absolutely have to spend more time on sales and marketing to get yourself out of there. And because you don't have the cash flow to just go hiring like a marketing agency or pay for more leads, you're going to have to pay with your time. If you can't pay with money, you have to pay with time. So let's look at your calendar and let's find how, with 30 hours a week on the tools, 10 hours of some of that boring admin work, we can add still another 20 hours of sales and marketing. And that is the biggest constraint. The booking percentage, it's actually not bad for it being a $30,000 job. And so the number one priority in the pathway for this business is the marketing. Remember this theory of constraints? The marketing is missing. So we need the marketing, then the sales. And once we have the marketing booked, at least 2 months in advance, what's the most important other thing we have to do? So let's say hypothetically, I change this 2 months that he's booked in advance. What do we do next? From there, we can lower the sales and marketing to maybe half the time. So it's only 10 hours. And then from there, what I'm doing is I'm spending an extra 10 hours a week. I'm taking that 10 hours. So instead of doing 20 hours for sales and marketing, we're now going to do 10 hours for sales and marketing. And then we're going to add those 10 hours into hiring. And the reason that's so important is because if this individual can find one good quality employee, that 30 hours a week on the tools goes from like 30 hours to like 10 or maybe 5. And that is when this individual starts getting some freedom. And then with that freedom, he can book more work, hire more people, increase profitability, hire an office assistant to basically help him with a lot of this boring stuff. And then the business starts creating a positive feedback loop into that next stage. So that's this specific business. So in this final example, we're going to take a look at a kitchen renovation business. And you'll see here their average dollar per job is $40,000. They're booked out 3 months in advance. They have a 30% booking ratio. The amount of hours that the owner is spending on the tools is 40 hours a week. They're spending 5 hours as foreman, 10 hours as on admin, 5 hours on sales and marketing. They have 2 payroll employees, 0 non-payroll employees, $35 per hour. They have 2 subcontracted people on site, so maybe like a plumber, electrician. They have 1 job site. $80,000 a month is what they're doing at 35% gross profit. So these are pretty good numbers. There's a key concept that I really want to make sure you understand to diagnose this yourself as much as you can. Obviously, for us to understand all the variations, all the nuances that are involved with your business, because we can get really granular. Like everything could be going right in your business, but we have to look at your overhead and net profit and all that. If at any point you feel confused and it's like, hey, I've done it for myself, we're going to give you some resources to do it yourself. Don't be shy to reach out, and we can help you with this. This is no problem. So I'll leave a link in the description, or you can just go to go.contracting.com. You could probably book a call there with us, and we can help you out with this. But you'll notice with this business, there should be two things that are standing out. So if you want to pause and have a guess, do that now. Okay. There's two big things that stand out as like red flags, real constraints. The first one is spending 40 hours a week on the tools, and the second one is a 30% booking percentage. Now, if you remember from our theory of constraints, you go marketing, sales, hiring, production. So when you're watching this, it's like Amber, this is simple. 30%, that's a bit low. And that's traditionally because, the KPI, the key performance indicator for businesses of this size, you should be closing around 50%. That is like pretty healthy. So again, you would say, okay, Amber, I'm watching this, fine. Marketing, sales, hiring, production. His sales is not where it needs to be. Sales, it is. Kind of, okay? And this is why I wanted to include this last example. I want to introduce you to something called the time management matrix. It looks like this. And you'll notice there's basically two things: urgent, non-urgent, important, not important. If something is not important and not urgent, most of the time you don't do it, or you just completely eliminate it. If something is non-urgent but important, you typically are scheduling it. If something is urgent but not important, if you're the only person in the company, you're probably forced to do it. And if things are urgent and important, then you, as the owner, that's priority number one. So if I was to ask you right now, in this business, what is urgent and important to figure out? You'll probably say that what's urgent and important is getting the owner off the tools versus the booking percentage. And the big reason for that urgency, is because we're looking at the amount of months here. He's booked 3 months in advance. Now, if he was only booked 2 months in advance or 1 month, I would say to you, you know what? It's urgent and important that he improves his sales so he can book himself out. But he's not. He's booked 3 months out. So what's urgent and important is getting him off the tools. Very, very important. The other aspect of this is typically when you're making decisions, you want to make decisions that eliminate the need for future decisions. If you want to solve a problem, you want to solve a problem that solves other problems with it. So you want to try to get these like two birds in one stone. Let's say we did work on increasing the booking percentage. Well, there's an increased commitment that needs to be taken on to accomplish that. And he's already working, this individual, 60 hours a week. So now he has to work an additional 10 hours a week to increase his booking percentage. And once his booking percentage is improved, now the guy's booked 4 or 5 months in advance, still on the tools. So it's just not as efficient use of his time. Whereas if he took that time instead to figure out how to hire a good quality employee, which is what I believe is the biggest constraint here, so we can get him off the tools, assuming that these two employees are reliable, and for the sake of this example, the two employees are reliable, then that's what we need to do. So that is ultimately what I see as an opportunity for this business. Now, the art of diagnosing and fixing constraints in your business, it really is a skill. And it takes years for myself. It took me 4 years, and I've probably had over 1,000 different contracting businesses in all parts of the United States and Canada that I've taken a look at these numbers, where I've gotten really good at telling you, hey, the biggest bottleneck in your business and the highest leverage opportunity for you to spend your time on is this thing right here. And I can do that very quickly. The goal for this video and these exercises is so that I can kind of plant that seed and have you, one, view your business from this new theory that you learned, and have you thinking in the day-to-day about what you're doing and how you're spending your time. Are you doing things that are just like repetitive, infinite tasks that will just, no matter what, they'll keep replenishing day in and day out. So if you're on the tools, as long as you run a contracting business, you're going to be on the tools. You know, you're basically showing up and solving the problem of finishing this job. But if you solved another problem, which is learning how to hire, now all of a sudden you don't have to be on the tools, and you can unlock this whole world of things. So there's multiple concepts here within this video. And if I can really sum it up, is 1, the theory of constraints, 2, the time management matrix, so that you know exactly where you're spending your time. And then 3, it would be making decisions that remove the need for future decisions. So for example, if you're making the decision to solve and get on the tools to finish this job, you know, and you haven't made a decision to hire somebody, well, now you're just going to be on the tools perpetually forever until you make the decision, okay, I'm getting off the tools, I'm going to learn how to hire. So these are some principles and concepts that I want you to take and try to apply to your business. And we included in the descriptions, there's going to be a blank template where you can put in your own numbers of your business, try to solve this on your own. And if you ever feel stuck, or if you're watching this video, it's like, wow, like, can you just do this for me? I can. Go to go.contracting.com and just book a call with us. We can help you just diagnose and figure out what that main constraint is. And it should be pretty easy for us at this point. But ultimately, you know, I hope you found this video valuable. And if you're watching this and you're like, Amber, I don't even know my numbers, man, you know, that's a good place to start. You know, we can make another video about that if you would like us to. But if you have any questions, let us know. Feel free to reach out or leave a comment. So subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next.